You're listening to the You Don't Know Me Yet podcast network.
Hey, you are tuned in to Two Gems and a Mic with hosts Tanisha the Diva Mahomes and Linda L.D. Dorsey. Just know, if we talking about it, you need to hear about it. Unwind and enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Two Gems and a Mic. I'm your girl LD. We are minus the Diva, along with my boy Darren Smith. Darren, what's going on?
What's going on, Miss Linda? I'm doing well. Been gurging on a lot of sports over the last week or so, ready to talk about it.
Okay, we can jump in. I know we're going to get to the Sweet 16s. Anything you want to talk about in football? Anything that stood out to you since the last time we chatted?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think the big news is Tanisha's nephew, Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? Posted a 4-second clip. I mean, it's only 4 seconds, but of him dropping back passing or whatever, where he's already said that he wants to make sure he's back in time for week one of the NFL season, which I've been saying that I said that when he got injured. If I know Patrick like I know him, he's going to be back week one, and so now everybody's trying to pick up on that, like, oh, he might be back week one. Like, I told you this. So for me, It's not breaking news, but seeing the footage and seeing how well he's moving was pretty big.
Yeah, it was. I saw that today. I think, what does he have? What is it like? I mean, he can do his
100 days.
rehab and step in 101 days, but then how many days before kickoff? Like, where would he need to be at what point do you think in order to play?
Well, again, I think he's going to play week one. So what he's shooting for is to do some stuff during OTAs, which takes place in May.
Okay,
it takes place in May. So now he's not going to be like fully participant and stuff like that, like all the other players and the rookies and stuff. But if he can find himself out there, interacting and running some plays. And just being involved, I think that's going to lend a lot of credence to what he's trying to do, and will just help with the process.
Do you find it overly impressive, or do you think other athletes, or do you think quarterbacks, running backs, whatever could do the same? It just depends on the individual.
It depends on the individual. I mean, everybody's body is created differently. Not a lot of people can do what Adrian Peterson did, which was come back, much quicker than expected. But he is a freak of nature when it comes to how he's built. Patrick, though, because of the drive and the commitment and how the season ended, also with the return of Travis Kelce, bringing back Eric Bieniemy, getting Kenneth Walker, there's a whole lot of other things in play that pushes him to want to be back in time for the season to start. So and look, there's a lot of naysayers, a lot of doubters based off of how the Chiefs ended the season. And so if you're Patrick, you're using all that as motivation. And again, Patrick, we know, I know Patrick. So it's like, if he, I mean, look, we saw him during the playoff, mess his ankle and stuff up or whatever against the Jaguars, where he essentially lived down at Arrowhead Stadium for a whole week to make sure he was ready to go for the AFC Championship game. So again, nothing he says, nothing he does surprises me. Someone who is who's been doing it, who's been covering this team as long as I have.
Okay, and he's got good training staff too. I know he has his trainer. She's good hands, right? No, that's State Farm, Allstate. Yeah, she's there. But his trainer.
It's funny because I go back and I was reading this ESPN article talking about Patrick and his ankle, and I go back to the quote. I was on the call when Eddie talked about the the trainer grinding. I'm like, man, Andy, your choice of words are kind of it's kind of you can't be talking about another woman grinding on Patrick.
Right.
You train her or not. I was like,
No, I like this.
yo,
That's a good relationship that they have there. That
very
trust,
good.
because you got to trust her too. So, but we'll see how he comes along. I hope for the best and when he comes back. As with any other player, not just him, but because of the connections there, we always talk about him. But yeah, Travis signing, that was great. I don't know if you think Tyreek Hill. I think it's just a great storyline. But do you think he'll come back? I'm
Yeah,
hoping
yeah.
Odell Beckham go back to the Giants.
I'm not gonna go that far, but yeah,
They want him, but
but I
hey,
do expect, I do expect Tyreek Hill to sign with Kansas City this offseason and return to Kansas City.
that'd be a great look. That's a great story. I would like to see that happen, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
the crazy thing, a lot of people are like, well, the Chiefs are, why are you bringing all these old players back and going back? The thing is, Tyreek even at 80% is still better than the players than the wide receivers we have here, and that's not saying nothing against
Any
Rasheed
of them, right?
or any. It's just, I mean,
It's
he
reality.
just is. It's just
Yeah.
reality, and look, right about now, especially with Kelsey coming back, you're trying to do whatever you can, and it's basically all hands on deck because you don't know how much longer a player like Kelsey has to keep trying to run it back to get to a Super Bowl and to win a Super Bowl. So, I mean, as long as Patrick is within this prime window, and you got players that can still contribute and help you win, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I feel you. I feel you. All right, let's jump on over here. Let's start talking about what do you want to start with? The men or the women? Where do you want to go?
Let's start with the men, just so we can end up, with the women.
Okay. All right. So, for Sweet 16, right? So we got Duke and St. John's. This is a game we talked about earlier, and no cakewalk. And why do you think this could be one? Because I want to talk about what are the possible upsets in the Sweet 16 round, and this is
Okay,
one.
so just for the sake of this conversation, let me let you know because I had talked about this on television a couple weeks ago, so I'm gonna just tell you my final four and just so we know.
And go back from there.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
I just want you to know just so when people watch it, they don't think I'm just Johnny come lately. But
Okay.
I have Duke, I have Houston, I have Arizona, and I have Michigan in the final four. And I
Okay.
have Houston. I think I have Houston winning over Arizona. Look, old school in me would love a Duke versus Michigan matchup. Fast Five Duke from back in the day.
Mhm.
And then if that's the national title, trust and believe CBS is going to blow it up. But the way the Big 12 has been all year, Arizona and Houston, they've been some of the top teams, and actually all four teams that I mentioned have been probably number one sometime this season. So I just like that. But in this particular matchup, the way Duke has played these first two rounds,
Mhm.
they could have lost. They could have easily lost,
Mhm.
against Siena, and I mean they eventually pulled away against TCU. I could see them getting knocked off by St. John's. I mean, to me, if there's an upset this weekend, I think
That's
it
it.
comes. Yeah, I think it comes Friday night between Duke and St. John's.
Okay. Okay. Your matchup. I have that also. I mean, I didn't pick that, but that is my upset coming out of it also. Excuse me. So you
But I
said
do have, but I do have Duke winning because again, I got them in the Final Four.
got
So
him in there, but that could be your upset. That's what you're saying. That could be
yeah,
your upset. And then you have Michigan State and UConn.
yeah. You know what? UConn has been really disappointing for me this season because
For many.
every time I would bet money on them, I'm saying they find a way to lose. I'm like, wait a second, because I'm like, I know they're good, and I know their coach is great. Look, he probably could have taken a job with the Lakers.
Like, yeah. Yeah.
Probably should have, but the way Michigan State has played, I think and I can't remember my bracket. I think I got Michigan State winning over UConn. I have a buddy of mine that I day trade with. His nephew is going to be the starting center for Tom Izzo at Michigan State. He's a
Okay.
7-foot senior,
Okay.
and Yeah, and he's gonna be playing for Michigan State. So I'm starting to cheer for them early. So when he gets there next year, I can already have my
You're already
interview.
there, right? I
Yeah,
hear you.
I'm
So
already
Iowa and Nebraska. Now, yeah,
in.
Iowa got that upset. Do you think it
The
carries over?
corn
They got
game.
that upset over Florida. I don't think it
Yeah.
carries over, but I think
Well, it
they
depends. I mean, look, I'm with you. I got Nebraska winning. I have Florida losing to Houston, but I could see, but Iowa and their physicality, I mean, but now both of these are Big Ten schools too, so they know each other very
very well.
well.
Right.
So I, I I'll lean on Nebraska for that.
Yep. That's where I am. If Iowa gets good on them, I'm always like, I always root for an underdog. I'll cheer for an underdog. I have no skin in the game except I do for St. John's, like a
Right.
home team, so I'll go with St. John's. But okay. And Houston, and Illinois, that coach, he came over while I was deployed, the Houston coach. I think he was at Oklahoma at the time. And I got some pictures of him. I can't find him right now, but if I find him, I'm gonna pop him up. But very nice guy. Very nice
Kevin
guy.
Sampson.
Always yes. He I think it was Oklahoma at the time. I ain't gonna date myself, but this was way back in
Oh,
the day when I was deployed. And he came over and the coach at the time of South Carolina. So I'll go ahead and date myself. This was 2004, 2005. And they came over. We were deployed. I was in Kuwait, and they ESPN came over. It was a big thing, and they were like coaching some of the soldiers that were over there. So service members that were over there, and they each coached the team. And I thought it was very nice for them to take the time out and come over to the area, and So I've always had kind of a affinity to him and wherever he went, and he's been doing well in Houston. So I like his coaching style, but I'm gonna ride with Houston coming out of there, and then we got Houston, so it's gonna be Houston and Nebraska. You got Houston beating Nebraska,
correct. Yes,
okay, okay, yep, and then Houston going up to the Final Four.
correct.
Ooh, about to sneeze, excuse me. Okay, you had Houston in the Final Four, and you against Duke. I got you. Let's switch over to the other side, and I would talk about I got Arizona and Arkansas.
I ain't gonna lie. Outside of Duke St. John's, I think that's gonna be tomorrow night. I look on Thursday night. I got my Chiefs podcast. I'm gonna make sure I am off of that because that's gonna be a hell of a matchup because Arizona with their guard play
Mm-hmm.
and Arkansas with their guard play, especially led by Acuff. Man, look, that's gonna
It's a very tricky
hey,
game. Yeah.
that's going to look again. That could be an upset as well. But Arizona, I've seen them up close and personal during the Big 12 tournament. Their
Mm-hmm.
defense is good. I mean, they're good, man. And I mean, but they're gonna have their hands full with Acuff. I mean, I think Acuff will get his, but it's you know. Vegas knows something. They got Arizona as a 7.5 point. Hey man, they be killing me with these point spreads, man.
I don't even pay attention to them because I'm just you don't
I,
know.
I
You
be
don't know.
trying to too, but then when you see the final score, you be like, man, I don't know how they figured that out. But yeah,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I got Arizona win again. I got them in the championship game, but
That's a
again,
game to watch.
that could be another upset too.
Okay. Um, let's drop down. Texas and Purdue.
Ooh, and I
It's a
hate the way
tricky.
Purdue plays.
It's tricky because
Texas,
Texas been playing all hard. I like
hey,
what they putting out there.
Texas knocking off BYU, and then the way they knocked off Gonzaga,
Yeah.
I could see the upset here again. Did I had Gonzaga going to the Elite Eight, so I don't have a dog in this fight. So,
Mm-hmm.
but Purdue Purdue plays in such a manner where it just feels so boring watching them play. Like they bore you to sleep. Like
But
yeah,
that's what they could do to another team too. Lull them to sleep. If you get
yeah.
them, if Purdue gets them to play their game, then that's a concern. That
And,
now you're playing their game. Yeah.
Purdue had this kid last year, which I think he's still there. I think he's a forward. That was averaging double doubles and stuff. A black kid. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Purdue because I think at the end of the day they're gonna muck it up. They're gonna they're gonna lope again. That's why they got the early game on CBS because
Put everybody to sleep.
it's gonna force everybody to stay up to watch the Arizona Arkansas game.
Yeah. So between then you got Arizona. So you coming out with Arizona and Purdue. and
Yes,
taking
ma'am.
Arizona all the way to the Final Four.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. All right. Let me drop it down here, and we
And I don't want
got
people to think I don't. Oh well, you just got the highest season. I mean, look.
no. It ain't. We know it ain't that anymore because that doesn't matter. Look at Florida.
Well, that too, but I tell people all the time. I say, you get past the first 2 rounds, it starts boiling down to talent and coaching, and I just think and look, I mean, coaching and effort is what got Iowa past Florida, but again, because if you look at it, you got a lot of 1 versus 4, 1 versus 5, 2 versus 3, stuff like that, to where I mean, just the better teams have won. I mean,
Right.
there's no real Cinderella teams.
No, the only big anomaly you got there is Iowa, right? A 9.
Well,
9
no,
still hanging in
Texas.
there.
Well, Texas.
Oh, Texas, excuse me. That's right. 11. 11 still
Yeah.
hanging in there. What? And then it makes you wonder sometimes, are these teams, well, I guess, yeah. Are these teams really, are they just looking at records? Or are they looking at what these teams, eye tests? So I'm going to talk about the eye test later on, too, when we get to the women, because I got a couple of takes there. Tennessee and Iowa State. I'm sorry. Michigan and Alabama.
I've seen Alabama. I've seen Alabama play this year. I've also seen Michigan play. Again, I do have Michigan going to the Final Four, so I do have Michigan. I don't want to. To me, it's not going to be an upset, but -9.5. I think Alabama. Again, to me, it's always how do these teams start the game off?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Do you start off fast and you put the number 1 seed on the heels and catch them by surprise again, like Duke was of the first couple of rounds. But I think when it gets all settled down or whatever, I just think the athleticism and the quickness of Michigan. is going to bring them past Alabama.
I agree. We agreeing on a whole lot of stuff. That's scary. Tennessee and Iowa State.
Tennessee and Iowa State. I'm gonna go with Iowa State. Look, Iowa State is surprised. Look, they've surprised me this season. I didn't realize how good they were. And seeing what helps Iowa State, what a lot of people don't know, their fans travel.
They do.
Now, I don't know if they,
for men and women.
Yeah, but yeah, now I don't know if they spending their farm money or whatever, but they travel. Like when they come to Kansas City, like they bring more fans to Kansas City than even Kansas, and Kansas is only 45 minutes away. Like Iowa State travel, so I don't know where the regionals are at this weekend, but wherever it is, Iowa State is going to be there loud and proud. So that's and that's man, I really hate that these games are going to be, got to flip between TBS and True TV and CBS, whatever. But
I guess that's why I got YouTube TV.
Yeah, I got it too, but I got it too.
You don't like
I'm going to be. No. I like it. I'm just saying I'm gonna be too busy just trying to, get the different announcing games and stuff. Just flipping between these games. So I'm excited because I think they have a lot of good matchups this weekend, and this is gonna be pretty good.
I'll tell you what I don't like later on. But okay, so then you got Iowa State and Michigan, and you going with Michigan because that's who you pulled up to the Final Four. We're gonna do a show before the Final Four. I'm gonna be out there in Phoenix for the women's Final Four. All right, so we got them.
Nice.
We got them set. Let's talk about the women now. So, this is what maybe I'm tripping, right? So from last year or from the previous years, I always thought that you had 2 days of men and 2 days of women. I didn't think they overlapped like they're overlapping now.
No, they've always done that.
So it was the last day always overlapped.
Yeah, but I think how they do now. I think how they do now. If I remember correctly, I thought. I can't remember if the women's game. I thought the women's final. I think the women's championship was on a Sunday though.
It is.
Instead of
it's been on a Sunday. Yes, it's been on Sunday, and the men's has been on Monday. They left that there. Even though the men start Thursday and the women don't start till Friday, then they flip it. It used to be the other way around. One was on Sunday. They switched every year. One was on Sunday. One was on Monday. The last few for the women have been on Sunday. I don't know if that's by choice.
Well, no, because I was going to. Were the women ever the day after the men on
No.
Tuesdays? Okay.
Never on.
Okay.
There was never a game on Tuesdays. The games would always end on Mondays, but I think the women's
Okay.
just took the Sundays game. But I thought it was the men's first round 2 days, then the women 2 days, then break whatever. I didn't know they overlap, but it
Yeah, yeah.
does.
I mean,
Okay.
well, yeah, they do. Men do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday the first 2 weeks, and then the women do the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So
Yeah. So I thought it was different, but yeah. Okay,
which I'm
so
fine with that.
yeah. Let's
Just
talk about the women.
more basketball.
UConn
Oh,
versus
it's not
North
even
Carolina.
fair. UConn, I got nothing.
So a lot of people, I'm gonna say everybody, a lot of people were complaining, not me, because to me, I don't care what league or what conference they're in. UConn is that team to me. They just look clean. They look good. That's not saying they can't be beat, but until they are beat, I thought they were the overall number one seed. What are we looking at? 50 something straight wins. So,
Yeah, and I think only one team has kept
Michigan
them the
early
single
on.
digit. Yeah,
Yeah.
the single digit victory.
That was Michigan. They got hot at the end of the game, and that was in November. And I try to tell people November don't matter when you playing UConn. You better come. You talking about February or March. That's when, if they looking rough, then because I would think that UConn may have had a chance if they were fully healthy with AZ Fudd 2 years ago when Dawn and them won. That might have been a different. It could have been It could have been UConn and South Carolina back to back. Not saying they would have won, but I think they would have beat Iowa. I don't think Iowa would have made it as close as that game, and you had AZ Fudd sitting on the bench because she's a beast, and her being healthy and what they're looking like. From the eye test, I don't see anybody beating them. If they stay healthy, I don't see anybody beating them. So that tells you I'm taking them all the way out. I had them winning the championship. But
Yeah,
that's not
I
saying that they
was.
can't be beat. Everybody can be beat.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was hoping for a rematch in the championship game between them and South Carolina, but it looks like that's going to be a final. They would
I
meet
hate
up in
that
the
they're
final
not.
four.
Yeah, I hate
Yeah,
that they're not. Going against or have the opportunity because ain't
but
nobody
but
guaranteed to get to the final four.
but that's more South Carolina's fault because they had they won the SEC tournament, then they'd at least
Yeah,
been in Fort Worth versus Sacramento. So
that's true. That's true. But all of them gonna be in the final four. I think I think so. I'll get to see them all in Phoenix. But yeah, so UConn, North Carolina, and then you got Notre Dame and Vanderbilt. I got Vanderbilt. Who you got?
I got to go with Vanderbilt just because
Yeah.
that's my stepdaughter's school, so I'm going with Vanderbilt.
Okay. I think Vanderbilt looking good. I mean, they're looking good. Shay Ralph has been coaching them. She's a student of Gino, coached with him for 13 years. So she learned some stuff and she's done great with that program. And
And
I
they've
think,
done and they done well, saying to still be in that position without Olivia Miles as well. So
oh, you talking about Notre Dame?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm talking Notre Dame, yes, but I'm talking about Vanderbilt. Shay Ralph, the
Oh yeah,
coach of
yeah, yeah.
Vanderbilt. But
Yes.
I think Vanderbilt, they're a little bitter about what happened with them in the SEC tournament, with Ole Miss. When they just got blown out. It was just like whatever happened. So they're a little hungry, but they gotta get past Notre Dame. Hopefully they're not looking past Notre Dame. And then to get to UConn, that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting to see, the coach and the student going at each other. I don't think they can beat UConn. Vanderbilt will get UConn, but it'll be a good game. Let's go down here. We got South Carolina against Oklahoma. I think they take them out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got South Carolina easily.
Yeah,
I
South
mean, look,
Carolina, they clicking.
and you know, this. I would have loved to have seen South Carolina USC with a healthy Juju, but the fact that USC got the freshman player of the year, and you bring a Juju back next year, and
And
I think and
number one
yeah,
overall. Yeah, they're gonna be
oh there you go.
they're gonna be a problem. They're gonna be a problem for a bunch of people. Yeah,
The key, but
but South Carolina is gonna be a problem too, because
oh yeah, so they already a problem.
You bring back Ashlyn Watkins, you bring back Chloe Kitts, and then you got you got the I mess her name up, Turnbull or whatever from France.
Mhm.
She gets some more. They're gonna be a problem. I think they're
I
gonna have to get a guard from somewhere or backup guard. But as far as bigs, shit, Dawn gonna have a whole lot on her hand. How many bigs I'm gonna put on the floor?
Yeah, and when it comes to USC, their problem is they're going to have so much talent. It's going to be up to the coach to be able to get them to play as a collective unit because with all that talent, again, because you got this freshman year girl, she
Yeah,
might think she the stuff, but you already know that you got these stuff that's going to be coming back healthy next year, and so you got to try to get them to mesh together, and then the other players that you got coming in because everybody's going to be like they stuff don't stink, so it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
yeah. Oh, I agree with you, 1000%. That's a good problem to have. But the coach, you got to get your mind right. You got to have your staff right, and you got to get that team believing in each other. Because I see teams that have a lot of talent, but they know my turn will come, and they can play to that. Then that's better for them. TCU and Virginia. Virginia, whew, that was a good game, a double overtime game. And they beat the number 2 Iowa, so that's the number 10 team. Nobody saw that coming. I thought Virginia was so resilient because they were getting some calls at the end that were not going their way. Um, I that's a tough one for me.
Really?
Yeah, it is. I think Virginia, they on to something. I mean, they gonna beat South Carolina. TCU ain't gonna beat South Carolina either. But I don't know. Who you say TCU?
I've got TCU. I like Olivia Miles, man. I mean, look, she had her getting triple
Right.
doubles like it's breakfast. I mean,
Yeah.
she's and for her, I think that she's just, she's one of those players that wants to show that last year with Notre Dame and how she exited is not how she wants to do this year. So again,
Yeah.
I don't see them getting past South Carolina, but I do see them getting past Virginia.
Okay.
And look, and Virginia being the first 4 team to make it this far, I mean
That
that's
says a lot right there.
yeah,
Yeah, the
that's a
money that
tall
was put
trip to
into
the
the
zone.
program. Yeah, so I like the look of Virginia. I like their coaching, and they've got a lot ahead of them. But yeah, Olivia Miles does have. I don't think it's something to prove for her that she's that player, but to prove that she made the right move.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's that player. Everybody, there's no doubt about that. She can play. Nobody's gonna doubt that. But that was a move for her. So we'll see what happens there. And then, like we said, South Carolina is gonna come out of that. So I see the South Carolina UConn matchup. Let's go over to the right. I'm looking at it. I got UCLA and UCLA and Minnesota. I'm going with UCLA. I'm taking UCLA all the way to the Final Four.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I've got UCLA as well. I don't have any. I
Yeah.
mean,
And that
for
not
me,
not no disrespect to Minnesota. I just think UCLA, they haven't lost. They lost one game.
yeah, and I was gonna say, for me, when it comes to the women, man, it's just generally the number one seeds are usually just that much more dominant than everyone else. So it's easy to say I got all the number one seeds because I do,
Hmm.
but it's like but the way they play, it's kind of hard. I mean, they're the
Hard
number one
not to.
seeds. Yeah, it's the number one seeds for a reason.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's the other ones that you kind of looking at like, can they knock them off? So
Yeah.
let's drop down. Then you got Duke and LSU. This is a tricky game to me. Go ahead. What you got?
No, no, no. Well, no, no, no. I just know it's not tricky for me because the LSU coach, she gonna do whatever she can to muck it up. And Floje, she played of course, her last game down at LSU last week. I just see them outlasting Duke and trying to get that one last push to the Final Four. So I
Okay.
like them in this game.
I To me, it's a tricky game. So if Duke falls into that running game of LSU and LSU is running them off the floor, they out there. If LSU has to settle back into Duke's game, I think Duke can win that game. I think the first, well, I mean, that's easy to say. I think the first quarter is going to determine how they come out.
Yeah, if I'm gonna go with the coach, and I'm gonna go with Kim Mulkey. Kim's gonna figure out a way to just, and this is, like I said, Vegas got them as 8.5. I think it's gonna be a little bit closer than that, but
Mhm.
I like LSU.
Okay, we going I that one is hard for me, but if I had to go to him, yeah, I could go there. Kara Lawson, I like her as a coach. I think she's good. What she did with them, in the beginning of the season, everybody was like, "Oh, she the person," and she the person. And she proved it going through. but you're winning that, ACC and everything. That's just gonna be because LSU can play themselves out of game if they can play within themselves, not within somebody, but within themselves. Sometimes they just go too fast for themselves. So
Yeah,
the first
they
quarter
get
is going to tell me
they
what
get in their own
LSU is
way. Is
stepping
what
on the
you
floor.
said.
Yeah, they get in their own way. So that's going to tell me, what happens there. And then, do you have? Well, we were talking about both of them. Do you have LSU beating UCLA?
No, I have other number one seeds going. I
Okay,
think. I think. What's the tall girl's name with?
Betts, Lauren
Yeah,
Betts. Yeah,
yeah. You can't teach height. I mean, you gotta. I mean, now.
yeah.
I mean, they have the athletes. You know, what I'm saying to run them off the floor if they get it, but once they get to the get to a half court game, is
Whole
I
different
mean,
game. Yeah,
it's a whole different ball game.
whole. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. All right, I appreciate you coming on. We gonna come. We gonna see what happens. We
Oh,
gonna
we still got one more. We still got one more.
No, who did I miss?
You missed
Oh, damn, I sure did. How did I miss them, Darren?
oh,
Texas. Texas and Kentucky. I got Texas and Kentucky.
yeah. Well,
I'm sorry.
even though my people are from Kentucky, from Louisville, Kentucky, I'm gonna go with Texas in this one.
Okay. No, I mean Kenny's a good coach. He's a quality coach. I don't think I just think Vic got that team ready. They ready. I yeah, I'm going with them. Louisville and Michigan. 2 and 3. This one's a little tricky.
I'm gonna
I
go
think it's
with
who got the
Michigan.
hot hand.
Yeah, now the one thing I don't like about these women tip offs that, and granted, I think they got these games where it's essentially almost an all day type of affair. They got 4 games on Friday and 4,
For
which
the
again I don't like because you got 4 games for the women on Friday, but they're gonna be competing against the men. And then
Right.
you got 4 games
That's
on
why I say I
Saturday.
don't like that. I think at the end there, they ought to switch it up. They ought to
Yeah,
when you get to the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, switch it up. Don't have them overlapping.
but I'm gonna go
But
with
I mean,
Michigan.
the fans are gonna go watch it. The women ain't lacking for fans. That's for sure.
That part is so true. No, I'm gonna go with Michigan. I think both schools get their teams to, well, they'll at least get to the Elite Eight on the women's side. But again, Texas is dominant.
Okay.
It's just hard for me to see them not getting to the Final Four.
Okay. And then Texas, yeah. So Texas, let's just talk about Texas and UCLA. You don't see UCLA beating Texas. I think that's the only team that beat UCLA earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And I may be
I like Texas.
to beat UCLA.
Yes, ma'am.
So Texas and UConn in the championship.
I didn't say UConn.
Oh, well, who you got? Who you got in the championship?
I'm still going with Don Staley, man. I can't.
Okay. So you got
I
You
just
got UConn beating. Excuse me.
I got Don I got Don figuring out because look for Don, her thing is this, like she said, for them to win, they got to crash them boards, just like they were doing against USC and then against Southern. How she talked about it, they have to crash the boards. They have to make sure, and again, they have the athleticism. You just for me, they just got to have the mental. If she gets to prepare mentally to where they feel like they can actually go out there and beat UConn, then they can do it.
And I believe that they want some get back from the championship last year. So it
They
depends
better.
how all of that plays
Yeah.
in. But like I said, for me, the eye test, I don't know. I don't put nothing past. I don't put nothing past South Carolina. And I'm a South Carolina fan also. So UConn was my team, way back in the day. So I always rode with them before Don Staley even got to South Carolina. I'm a Don Staley fan, so that's why I like them to South Carolina. But and I hate that they won't be playing or have the opportunity at least to play each other for the championship. I don't know how I left out a whole bracket. I think because I'm tired. I think that's it. I think I'm tired. All right, now. I can wrap it up. You got any closing thoughts?
No. Just excited about more basketball to watch this weekend, especially college basketball, because eventually. Oh well, I do have one thing. Shout out to the WNBA for
Absolutely.
coming to an agreement with the players' union and them not having to go on any type of lockout or strike or anything like that, where they'll have a full season and the women getting some of what they should be getting, even though they probably should be getting more. But
I
steps,
agree.
baby steps along the way.
Yes, right. And yeah, you gotta, we crawl, walk, and run, and we're getting there. And I say we, as women or whatever, getting there. But I even like the fact that they have in there that some of the women that this league and they considered that, and that was a part of it. Um, some of the women that built this league that were there that wrote it out, they weren't getting this kind of money that they'll now get something. And if it's a one-time pay, it ain't $1 million. I get that, but it's something, and I think it's more of the thought of whatever going into it, and the fact that these women they stood on business. Like they said, they stood on business. They didn't back down. So I
The
love
one
that.
thing the one thing I do like though is that now the question is seeing how this CBA agreement plays out. Does Juju come back after her junior year?
That's good. Well, it's
That's
going
what I'm
to
saying.
impact Darren. It's going to impact a few because a lot of them were like, "I'm not," but it is more money, right? And then who gets the most money. So yeah, it's gonna change things. It's gonna change things because we see these people, these young ladies are carrying them NILs with them to the WNBA. So they ain't losing no money, they gaining money. But if they're even getting, you know, decent money there and they can take their NILs with them, I mean Juju could leave now. Juju could go into the draft without playing. They know what she's capable of. So that's that I don't know. She get the itchy feet, the happy feet and want to go. But if they have a crazy season next year, and win it all, maybe it's like I want to come back and do that again. Or does
Right.
that injury say, let me go get this now? I don't know. I don't know what that mentality is.
I don't know. I mean, well, I'm wondering because I know they invited her for the tryouts and stuff, even though they couldn't play because she was injured. So I wonder if her decision will be beholden on whether or not she can make the Olympic team. So in 28, so that's what I'm wondering.
28. Oh, you know
In Los
what?
Angeles, because it is in Los Angeles.
Yeah, yeah. That's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough because that team is stacked now. Watching the USA team play, they stacked now. You still didn't have Asia out there who's gonna be on the spot, or Stewie, who and Nafisha Collier. There's three spots. So three people that were playing on that team ain't playing on that team. So now you're saying you gotta
And
take four off of that team if you're gonna put Juju on there. I don't know.
yeah, put like this: branding. It's in Los Angeles. Look when she comes back, she's going to be the favorite to be Player of the Year. And if by chance USC can win the national title, look, it's so.
It's a whole lot. Ifs,
I,
because you got
no. I get it. No,
yeah,
I get.
yeah.
But hold on. But if anybody can do it, it's going to be her. And keep this in mind, she was the only college player that actually got the invite. You know, what I'm
Yeah.
saying to come out. So so
Yeah, I see that, but you know what? Branding, just like everybody was complaining about the branding with Caitlin Clark, but they went out and got them a gold medal. So, and I know it wasn't here in the States, but everybody was like, CC, if you don't put her in, we ain't watching, we ain't doing this. Sometimes that USA team,
I,
you have to think about it. You're gonna have to cut somebody from that team, and has she proven that she's better than that person at that level? That's
I put like I'll say this, Linda.
mhm.
I'll say this because I've been coaching a long time. There, Caitlin, yes, maybe she deserved it, maybe she did. I don't know. I know they gave it to the girl from Phoenix, but I'll say
Leah.
this. Yeah, I'll say this. Juju's a totally different beast.
Oh,
Like
I know.
no, no,
I get that.
no. But what I'm saying is, like, she's not gonna have the type of quote unquote drama that Caitlyn had. You know, saying coming out of college and so I'm saying like the players in the WWE, they ought to respect what Juju was doing. So because put it like this, had it been the case of Paige Becker's making the Olympic team instead of Caitlin, it wouldn't have been an issue because at that time, the WNBA players had more respect for Paige Beckers because of little things, you know, saying like her speech at the SB Awards. I'm saying little things like that has an effect, on
Right.
things.
I'm just looking to a position. And I love Juju's game, but I'm looking at position. I think branding and all that. Yes, they're gonna figure it out. I just think is it somebody that's been on that team that you got to get rid of because you already, like I said, there's 3-4 spots already gone. 3-4 people on that team ain't gonna be there. Most people don't understand that because you Asia, Stewie, and Fee making that team.
Yeah.
That's just so it's 3 bigs in there that's fighting for their life, that's saying, hey, I gotta figure this out. So I don't know. That's something we're gonna keep an eye on. That's it.
Yeah.
We're just gonna keep an eye on it, okay?
That's
Because I think
gonna be a good
I do
conversation a
believe
year from now.
branding. When I say branding does matter. It does matter. But Juju, she is a brand, but good God, she could play. So you got to take that into consideration too. And it all depends on, like you brought up, what that team does. What do they do?
And the biggest thing also position as well. Her
Yeah.
position is different from Caitlin's, and so yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not in that comparison. Caitlin's on the team. She's gonna be on the team. Only way she ain't on the team, something happens to her, she gets hurt, or she decides not to play. She's on that team. I think that's another branding thing. You're not gonna keep her off. But like I'm saying, you got Caitlin, you got Paige, you got Copper. Copper balled out for them and won that last Olympic game, won that gold for them. So it's like, do you keep her? What are the positions that we need? And then maybe you just go small. You don't care about the positions. You just care about the players because everybody can run the floor. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we got a whole another year and a half for that. So
yeah. So don't be stressing me about that mess now.
I ain't stressed.
All right. So a lot going on in the world. So everybody got to be please be kind, be blessed, and be safe, and tell your loved ones that you love them. So until next time, Darren, what we got? Peace. Thank you for tuning in to 2 Gems and a Mic. Be sure to subscribe and follow. Until next time, remember, be kind, be blessed. Peace.